Coast, live from Solent University. You're listening to Solent Sports News.
Good afternoon, it's 3 o'clock. I'm Matthew Cook and these are your Solent Sports News headlines. Former Spanish FA President Luis Rubiales is currently on trial, accused of sexual assault. The case relates to Rubiales kissing Jenny Hermoso in the 2023 Women's World Cup final, a moment she said tainted one of the happiest days of her life. Rubiales denies these allegations and is set to take the stand in court on the 12th of February. Former AFC Tottenham winger Jordan Chiedozie remains in a coma following an accident on Saturday night. We now cross to our correspondent Cody Dedman to tell us more. Hi Cody, have there been any updates regarding this case?
Hi there Matthew, I'm currently stood outside Southampton General Hospital on what is a cold February afternoon on England's south coast, where former Bournemouth youth player Jordan Chiedozie is currently in a controlled coma. Hampshire Constabulary revealed that a 44-year-old woman from Berkshire has been arrested on suspicion of drunk driving and dangerous driving leading to the collision. Clubs Bashley FC and Tottenham FC have shown their support during these scary times. This follows news that Jordan's condition was caused by a road accident which occurred on Saturday night on the M27.
And can you tell us what happened on Saturday night?
Yes, of course, Matthew. So, 30-year-old was travelling back to Southampton after having played against Tavistock AFC in the Southern League match, where he had to pull over to investigate a flat tyre. It's been reported that a silver Mercedes crashed into the back of his Volkswagen Golf whilst he and a passenger were outside. He was accompanied by the club's physio, Reagan Taylor, who was luckily able to provide basic medical aid. She was left uninjured, but severely traumatised. Jordan, on the other hand, suffered broken bones among other physical injuries that have been described as potentially life-threatening.
Thank you for that, Cody. We really appreciate your time. Chelsea faced West Ham on Monday night, and our reporter Jack Todd provides a roundup of the action.
Chelsea roared back from 1-0 down at half-time to win 2-1 on Monday night against West Ham to lift them up to 4th in the Premier League table. This was only Chelsea's second league win in 5 matches, with boss Enzo Maresca saying this was one of the toughest matches he'd seen his team play this season.
I was very happy, especially because I consider tonight the game probably the toughest game in terms of mentally, because in this moment when teams come here and just they sit back waiting for our mistake, there is no space to attack, you need to be patient. And first half, we were playing in the opposite side, but there was no space.
This was the first time that Chelsea had won a Premier League game at home when trailing at half-time since December 2013. Yet Maresca still believed his side thoroughly deserved to win the game overall.
That we were losing and then at the end we won the game. In the same time, happened many times that we were winning and we didn't win, especially in the last 4, 5, 6 games. But I think it's football. Sometimes happen in one side, sometimes happen in the other side. But important is the performance. I think we completely deserve to win the game, as I said.
At the weekend, Southampton earned a vital win against fellow relegation strugglers Ipswich Town. We now head to Sam Morley, our reporter, who covered the fan reaction towards the match.
He's got the ball out on that left wing to Sulemana. He's got support from Walker Peters. Couple of step overs into his right foot and the shot tapped, and then the follow-up put in by Onuachu. And Southampton are winning at Ipswich.
Southampton recently beat Ipswich Town 2-1 to give the Saints fans something to cheer about in what has been a dire season so far. Southampton remain bottom of the table, but the recent win will give them some confidence as we enter the second half of the season. We spoke to Saints under-18s coach Chris Carlson and he gave his thoughts on the victory.
Well, I think the Ipswich game was a good game. It's an important victory as well. So a good result, especially against Ipswich, who are above them on the table. So it's a really good win. And important that the new players are starting as well, like Wellington and Albert. And of course, important as a striker, Paul Onuachu scores. So yeah, important.
We spoke to various Southampton fans to give their opinion on the match and their survival chances for the remainder of the season.
Well, I was expecting it in a way because Ipswich is about the same standard as Southampton. They both can't afford good top players, so they're a championship side till they can spend a lot of money on top players. And they've been doing that as long as I remember. So.
Well, I mean, I think it was really important to use a cliche. It was a 6-pointer, which is really stupid because it was only for 3 points. But I think without having one there, I think everybody there would have realised there's no chance in survival. Now I'm sure with a result like that, they probably the players will have some belief in themselves and in their very slim hopes of surviving, I would think.
Saints remain bottom of the table, 10 points adrift of safety, and with relegation looking likely, Southampton will be planning for next season already, while trying to maintain pride in their Premier League campaign.
In transfer news, the January window slammed shut last night, with Southampton fans eagerly awaiting to see if their club made any deals. Our reporter Melvin Armstrong went out to cover the Saints' dealings.
The January deadline day is now officially passed, meaning teams are no longer allowed to make signings until the summer. Southampton, currently bottom of the Premier League table, only picking up 2 wins this season, had a quiet transfer window, only making a few small additions. We spoke to multiple Southampton fans on their opinions regarding their business and how it will affect the remainder of their season.
It wasn't the best last window we had. That we lost a few young talents and also didn't manage to get Sila over the line, which is really annoying. We've managed to sign a young player from Turkey. He looks to be pretty decent, but overall I think we could have done a bit better.
Well, to start off with, we have not been good enough in the first half of the season, so I thought the transfer window would be something that we would have to improve our season, but it's come far from the truth. I mean, the Silas deal broke down, Adam Armstrong left, which I think is a massive, massive loss. I don't see a way we stay up. I think the transfer window has been shocking, and we won't stay up in the Premier.
Yeah, well, I think they're mainly for the under-21s and probably looking to the future. I think maybe the board and they've sort of accepted that relegation is a very high possibility, so there's no point in splashing a lot of money and for the wage bill next season. I think 2 smart signings, 2 for the under-21s, especially as we lost Sam Amoya, who was in our under-21s, to Strasbourg. I think, 2 good signings on deadline day, but nothing really for the first team, and I think sort of accepted that we're going down.
Abakar Sila, a 22-year-old centre-back who currently plays for Strasbourg, was set to join Southampton on deadline day until Parma stepped in the last minute and hijacked Southampton's deal. However, a deal between the two clubs never came through, meaning that Saints target Sila will remain at Strasbourg for the remainder of the season. We asked Southampton under-18s coach Chris Carlson on his opinion regarding the loss of Sila and how that affect the season.
Mixed feelings about that. In my opinion, you probably should have signed a more older and quality player who can have a bigger impact, but obviously Sila is a good player, has a lot of potential, so haven't had the Premier League experience. Have been nice for him, and hopefully could have been a good impact for the team. Yes, 100%.
Bottom of the table, and with one of their main players, Adam Armstrong's future still at risk, with West Brom still being interested, and with their lack of signings to the squad in January, Southampton look almost certain to go down.
England wicketkeeper Jamie Smith is likely to miss the side's one-day clash against India due to injury. Smith, aged 24, has a calf issue which caused him to leave the field during the 3rd T20 last week. It is unknown whether he will be fit enough for the Champions Trophy game against Australia on the 22nd of February. In the world of tennis, Emma Raducanu is facing off in the opening round of the Abu Dhabi Open. She is facing former Wimbledon champion Marketa Vondrousova. The former US Open champion was due to play in the qualifying rounds, but her wildcard spot was upgraded to a direct passage into the main draw. We are now joined by tennis expert Evan Roberts. Evan, how is the game going for Raducanu?
It's not really going to plan at the moment. It was initially set to start at 1, but due to some delays, it kicked off about 1:50, and having led 3 games to 1 early on, Raducanu relinquished her early lead as Vondrousova took 5 consecutive games to win the first set and has broken Raducanu's serve 3 times during the first set to lead, and currently leads the second set 3 games to 2. So it's not looking good for Raducanu at the moment.
Well, she's storming ahead, Evan. So would you say that Vondrousova could be one of the favourites to win the tournament now?
I'm not sure about favourites for the tournament. Raducanu is not on good form at the moment, so I think once she faces, if this is when she goes through, if she faces stronger competition, I'm not too sure whether she'll be able to go past them. But yeah, Raducanu she's getting played across the court right now. It's not looking good for her.
Evan, thank you very much for your time. Now over to American football. The Solent Redhawks endured a 60-0 hammering over the weekend in their final home game of the Division 2 campaign versus league leaders Oxford Brookes. Our reporter Marlon Darren provides us with the updates.
The roar of the opposition's victory echoed around Test Park, while Solent Redhawks were left to process a crushing 60-0 defeat on home turf. A tough afternoon saw Solent Redhawks struggle in all areas of the game, unable to break through a dominant Oxford Brookes defence while conceding heavily at the other end. We met up with captain Ollie Price to reflect on the result and discuss where the team goes from here.
Obviously it's really tough, especially when you lose by that much. It all comes down to execution. They executed so much better than us. Offensively, we moved the ball quite well but couldn't get it done in the red zone, and that's on, not just the QB, on everyone on the offence. But also defensively, too easily gave up. People on special teams need to take a bit of accountability. As a team, we just weren't up to scratch.
Despite the scoreline making a sight for sore eyes, Ollie feels that there were real positives to take from the affair and reflected on the plus points he's seen in his side over this campaign that they can build moving forwards.
We moved the ball really well on offence. I think that's one thing we can take as a positive. Tom Mudra, one of our best receivers, got a couple of catches. Emmanuel got a little catches. It's just a learning curve, a massive learning curve for everyone. They're a much better opponent than us. I think it's a bit unfair that they get to just, stat pad in a Div 2. We're kind of seeing it as like we're laying the foundations, and then hopefully next year we're going to build like a nice house. We've got good players, we've got good coaches. It's just putting it all together.
It may have been the cheerleaders who welcomed the Redhawks onto the pitch, but they left with their heads held low in defeat. Ben Lester, who played linebacker in the affair, feels the defeat came down to a gulf in quality between the two sides.
We have a lot of rookies, like first year playing, and they've also got a lot of graduates. A tough game to be a part of. They had European players as well, so skill-wise they're top of the level, but mentally our heads went down after the first mistake, so sort that out, we'll be fine.
Solent Redhawks will look to make a vast improvement for their next game against Chichester. Marlon Dara, Solent Sports News.
Across the pond, five-time NBA All-Star Luka Doncic has joined the Los Angeles Lakers in a huge trade deal, with Anthony Davis joining Dallas Mavericks. At just 25 years old, Doncic has averaged 28.1 points per game and is seen as the long-term successor to LeBron James. That's all from us for this hour. I'll be back with our final show of the day. Remember, you can keep up to date 24 hours a day on our website, which is solentsportsnews.com. Thank you.